and refrain from creating any disruptive sounds. At this time, I invite our public to please stand, and I invite Pastor Ellen Savory from the 16th Street Seventh-day Adventist Church to lead us in the invocation, followed by Malosi Sanaya. I'm sorry, I hope I pronounced that right. The senior captain of the Aquinas football team, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome and thank you both.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us bow our heads to pray. God, we are grateful for this opportunity to gather as a city to discuss its business. I ask that you would be with the mayor tonight and the other elected officials. Would you give them wisdom as they make decisions for the residents here of San Bernardino? May the decisions made here tonight be ones that will cause vibrance within our city, cause it to be safer, and cause a more educated and progressive city here in California. We are grateful for this opportunity, and we ask for your leading and guiding in all that happens. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your dedication to our community. Thank you, Pastor. At this time, we move immediately into our appointments process. May I have a motion to approve the following individuals: Michael Lara to the Historical and Arts Commission, Gerald Carroll to the Charter Review Commission, Angela Torres to the Charter Review Commission, and Michael Lara to the Charter Review Commission.
Move for approval.
Second.
Councilmember?
I'm going to vote no on the Charter Committee appointees, and I will vote yes for the Arts.
We'll let the record reflect that. Members, please cast their votes.
And I'd also like to say the same with regard to the Charter Commission. I think that there's a tendency to redirect what the Charter Commission is doing. So I'll be voting no on the Charter Commission appointments.
Who seconded the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Please push your button. On the appointments, the motion was made by Ms. Richard, the second by Mr. Sanchez, and the item passes. The first item passes 7-0. The others pass 5-2 with Misters of Mulvihill and Charette voting no.
Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. At this time, I call forward Michael Lara, Gerald Carroll, Angela Torres, Michael Lara for Charter Review Commission. Also joining me would be Councilman Nickel, Councilman Figueroa, and Councilman Sanchez, please. I'll make my appointment. Mr. Lara, welcome, sir, and we thank you for your commitment to our community. At this time, let's do a group swearing in. How's that? We'll ask all of our commission members present here tonight, the candidates, if they'd please come forward. Once again, Gerald Carroll, Angela Torres, and Michael Lara for dual positions. All right. We only have one tonight, so the rest will get sworn in later. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Lara. We appreciate your commitment to the city of San Bernardino. At this time, I'm going to ask and call forward Councilmember Nickel to join me. I'd like to present the certificate to Michael A. Lara for the Arts and Historical Commission. Congratulations, sir, and thank you for serving as my appointee to that commission.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I, too, wish to congratulate you on your appointment as our Charter Review Commissioner for the 5th Ward. Thank you for your service. And you have a second pin that you can now wear. Thank you.
I'll make you wear it. There's going to be comments tonight by the city clerk's office. Make sure your sister has been commenting about making comments about these incidents.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate all of our commissioners. Tonight, we'll advance right on to our Chamber of Commerce and local elected official announcements. This time, I call forward our local representative to please make their announcements.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Colin Strange, and I'm the Director of Business Resources at the Chamber of Commerce, which is right across the street. Starting off Monday, February the 10th at 7:30 p.m., the San Bernardino Symphony will be presenting an evening of bingo at the Big Queen Bingo, hosted by drag queen Tommy Rowe. The event takes place at 3550 East Porcheway in Ontario. Call 632-7775 for reservations. On Wednesday, February the 12th, at the Chamber Coffee Clutch meeting at 7:30 p.m., the Neighborhood Partnership Housing Services will be presenting the city's owner-occupied rehabilitation program at the Chamber across the street. Call 885-7515 for more details. Friday, February 14th, which happens to be Valentine's Day, the Unforgettables Foundation appropriately presents the Hearts Award Luncheon at the historic Fox Theatre in downtown Redlands at 123 Cajon Street. Call 335-1600 for information. On Saturday, February the 15th at 2 o'clock, and then again at 8 o'clock at the California Theatre on 4th Street, the Ovation Theatre Company presents In the Heights, which is a Tony Award-winning musical written by the creator of Hamilton, who is Lin-Manuel Miranda. The story unfolds over 3 days in Washington Heights, a New York Latino neighborhood on the brink of change. So call 885-5152 to reserve a seat. The San Bernardino City Unified School District Board meeting takes place on February the 18th at 5:30 p.m. at their offices at 777 North F Street. Call 381-1245 for details. Our Coffee Clutch speaker for February the 19th will be the Assistants League of San Bernardino, giving us a preview of their up-and-coming headdress ball themed this year, Seas of the Day, at the Chamber offices across the road again, 546 West 6th Street, while the Chamber Governmental Affairs Committee meeting takes place the following day, Thursday, February the 20th, at 9 o'clock. On Saturday, February the 20th, the San Bernardino Symphony presents Cirque de Symphony, or Symphonie, I beg your pardon, Cirque de Symphonie at the California Theatre. The performance features a stunning show of live circus acts accompanied by a wide range of classical music. So call the Symphony at 381-5388 for information and tickets. There will be a ribbon cutting at 1:30 p.m. at Indian Springs High School for the East Valley Water District, who will be launching their Water Resources Pathway program for students at the school. The address is 650 North Del Rosa Avenue, 381-1250 for details. The speaker at Coffee Clutch, Wednesday, February 26th, the chamber will be Leslie Stevens of the Doubletree Hotel by Hilton, giving an update on tourism in San Bernardino and discussing the topic of the transient occupancy tax. On February 27th, the Center for Individual Development, also known as the CID, will present a murder mystery at the Elks Lodge at 2055 Elks Drive, beginning at 6 o'clock. You can call 384-5426 to reserve a spot. Finally, at the request of our President and CEO, Judy Penman, I'd like to introduce this little red book, which was presented by a chamber member at Coffee Clutch this morning. It's by an author called Duncan Hines, and it's entitled Adventures in Good Eating Places Along the Highways of America. It was published 14 times between 1936 and 1949. Mr. Hines accepted no advertising or cash for any of the listings in the guide, so this could, in a way, be regarded as America's Michelin Guide. I thought it might be fun to see if any of the restaurants in San Bernardino were listed. There were two. One was the Cafe Madrid in the sadly closed down Harris's department store, which I remember well for its elegant white tablecloths, and it actually served wine. The other is the Mittler Cafe, which has stood the test of time and is still there today. And the listing reads, 602 Mount Vernon Avenue, open all year, every day except Mondays, 10 a.m. to midnight. Spanish food, tacos, enchiladas, tostadas, tamales, chili con carne, chili rellenos, combination plate, fried beans with cheese, air-conditioned, lunch or dinner from 90 cents upwards. Thank heaven some good things still exist in town today. Thank you.
For 90 cents?
Thank you very much. At this time, we will come back to Chief Munsey's presentation. And so if you place a bookmark there. This time, I would like to invite the Aquinas High School. Please come and join us at the platform. Let's give them a round of applause. We'll direct them to our police department. We'll go ahead and allow them to come up to the platform here. Our city's athletes have once again made San Bernardino proud. The Aquinas football team had great success this past season, winning the CIF Division V Championship and the 2AA Southern Section Regional Championships. Tonight, I honor the Aquinas High School football team for their Division V championship and their regional championship. This time, I will recognize the head coach, Jordan Bruising. Sir, if you would join me at the podium for your great work and some comments. What a wonderful sight to see our Aquinas High School champions, and let's give them another round of applause. So we're very excited about athleticism in the city of San Bernardino, and we're grateful for your coaching skill and ability, sir. On behalf of the city of San Bernardino, certificate of recognition from the Mayor and City Council, congratulating and honoring Jordan Bruising, head coach of the 2019 varsity football Aquinas High School team. Congratulations, sir, in a few words. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having us. It's an honor to be here. These are tremendous young men of God, and they're proud of what they do. They're proud of their school, and we're so blessed to be able to do what we do at Aquinas. And thank you so much for having us.
For brevity's sake, I want to recognize all the individuals. I will only read names. How about this? I'll let your coach and your staff pass all these and find you guys. But gentlemen, what a great job you did. This is such an honor to our community. We're so proud of you, and we're very, very excited. So at this time, I'm going to read names, Jake Henderson, assistant coach. I'm sorry, there you are. Yeah. There we go. Jake Henderson, assistant coach. Anthony Valenzuela, assistant coach. Will Seltz, assistant coach. Mike O'Neill, assistant coach. David Samaro, assistant coach. Brian Conan, assistant coach. Steve Paramo, assistant coach. George, I'm sorry. That's a difficult one for me. I'm going to call you George Agnew. All right, assistant coach, sir, congratulations. Mark Robert, assistant coach. Tommy Ramos, junior, assistant coach. Nick Caravederas, director of marketing. Ray Reyes, ASB director. We're so very proud of all of the support staff that has complemented the work, and Dr. Gina Horton, and we're so very, very excited, and thank you to all of our coaching staff. All right, we have 54 players, and what is it?
Less than that.
All right. Well, let's read their names. How's that? And we'll allow you to provide those certificates a little bit later. Terrence Fall, Miles Harold, Sion Lalole, Keenan Pett, Marco Perez, Francisco Maugia. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, gentlemen. I apologize. Diego Samaro, Romeo Ross, Jace Woods, Jalen Cooper, Angel Paez, Augie Cohen, Daniel Hernandez, Anthony Cooper, Jason Blackcloud, Brent Austin, Isaac Handy, Terrion Sweet, Juju Roberts, Ronnie Roberts, Oscar Montenegro, Matthew Gaeta, Hakeem Halliburton, Jason Romo, Rhoda Rail, Abercrombie, Tapania Tupau. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize. Melosi Ciania, Anthony Lopez, Michael Villa, Jonathan Bruno, Hawk Ramos, Nicholas Irvin, Francis Magoya, David Rodriguez, Alex McAllister, Dylan Valencia, and Junior Te Falmo. Congratulations, gentlemen. Would you join me? Congratulations. Yay. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, very good. Thank you. At this time, we will move on to Omnitrans Connect Forward proposed service changes. Tonight, joining us from Omnitrans is Jeremiah Bryant to present on the proposed service changes within our city. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor Valdivia. I'm Jeremiah Bryant, the Director of Strategic Development at Omnitrans, and I'm before you to talk about the Connect Forward proposed service changes at Omnitrans. Right now, what Omnitrans is in the process of doing is gathering public input and public feedback on a number of service changes. Specifically, we've had 21 meetings gathering input from the 15 residents of the 15 cities we serve, in addition to, I believe this is my 6th or 7th council presentation in the 15 cities we serve. Generally, what our Connect Forward plan is we're looking forward to making a number of changes within the services that we provide, which are both fixed route bus service and service for ADA clientele. Ultimately, the changes are proposed in order to ensure that we have an ability to meet the financial needs of our agency in the future, in addition to serving the regional connections that are required for a public transit agency. Our plan does include a number of service changes. Those can be characterized as either frequency changes, changes in how often the bus comes, changes in the route alignments themselves, which are map changes. There are a few route eliminations, and then a few new routes as well. While I will go through the changes for specifically the city of San Bernardino today, the changes do impact all 15 cities we serve. If you would like more information, please visit omnitrans.org/connect forward. Or in front of you on the dais, there is a brochure that goes through the full change of changes throughout the cities we serve. Why are we making these changes? Well, our goal is to make sure that we have a financially sustainable future in transit moving forward. The reason why that's crucial is, like many transit agencies in the state and throughout the country, we have seen a persistent ridership decline. Over the last 5 years, we've seen about a 25% decline. As a result of that, it is not sustainable to maintain the same level of service with fewer customers. As a result of that and being able to find efficiencies elsewhere in our system, despite a 25% decline in ridership, we are proposing an 11% decline in service spread throughout the cities we serve. Ultimately, in November, we did take a series of guiding principles to our board that our board approved, which are the 8 guiding principles you can see on the screen. Fundamentally, those are really centered around 2 key concepts. The first is we want to minimize the impact to our customers. As the city of San Bernardino accounts for 25 to 30% of our overall ridership on a daily basis, the city of San Bernardino does see changes, but sees relatively small changes compared to some of the other cities that we serve. Secondly, in order to ensure that we were minimizing the impact on customers, we wanted to take a business or data-driven approach. What that means is we collect a lot of data on where our customers are traveling, where people are getting on and off the buses. We wanted to make sure that we used all of that data to make sure that we made changes that had the least impact and provided the greatest efficiencies given the choices that we had in front of us. I know on this map there's a lot to see. I'll zoom into the primary change in a second. But we have several routes that serve the city of San Bernardino. Route 1 is a route that runs diagonally, starting outside of the city at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, then ultimately connecting up to San Manuel Casino. There is a small change on the north end of this route to eliminate some duplication on Highland Avenue, since we have another route that provides 15-minute service on Highland Avenue. One of the primary benefits of this particular change is we will add 15-minute service on weekdays in front of San Gregorio High School, and there will be an increase in frequency at Pacific High School, increasing from service every 30 minutes to 15 minutes. We do propose eliminating routes 5 and 7. There will be a new replacement route for that called Route 6. We took the highest performing sections of Route 5, which start at Cal State San Bernardino, ultimately wind to Waterman Avenue, travel south on Waterman to the city limits, basically in Loma Linda and Colton. That route will be changed, although service on Waterman primarily remains. Same thing with 7. It's a route from Cal State San Bernardino to the San Bernardino Transit Center. The majority of the route will stay as well. In terms of frequency changes, there are 2 primary frequency changes. Both affect both affect weekends, so Saturday and Sunday. Route 14, which starts at the San Bernardino Transit Center and travels to the Fontana Transit Center, primarily along 5th Street in the city of San Bernardino, is proposed to go from every 15 minutes on Saturday and Sunday to every 20 minutes. And similarly, routes 3 and 4, which primarily serve Highland and Baseline in the city of San Bernardino, are proposed to go from every 20 minutes on Saturday and Sunday to every 25 minutes on Saturday and Sunday. If you look on the map that's highlighted, you'll see 2 areas circled in yellow. What those 2 areas are is the 2 areas that will see a reduction in service, one on Sierra Way, effectively north of the 30, or the 210, excuse me. And then also a slight change on Del Rosa near Highland. A little more detail you can see if you zoom in. It shows just the same thing. We have had 21 meetings so far. The only concerns we have had specifically related to San Bernardino has been the change on Sierra Way north of the freeway. There's fairly low ridership in that area. Additionally, there is a small gap in service on Waterman between Gilbert and 21st Street. That gap is about a half-mile gap, but there's a service. If anywhere in that area, you're within a quarter mile of an existing route, that will provide service to that area. I think one of the things that I think is important is if we look at the service overall, Omnitrans picks up approximately 14,500 residents or boardings in the city of San Bernardino. When we look at all of the map changes, of those 14,000, there are approximately 290 boardings that are impacted. Of those, 34 have service at an adjacent stop. That basically means across the street or across the intersection. Nearly 200 or nearly two-thirds of those have service within a quarter mile, and then the remaining 30 of them have service within half a mile. Half a mile is important because that's our board-approved walking standard. If we look at those changes in those who are not within a half mile, there's only 20 boardings a day out of 14,000 boardings a day that are not covered with service that we believe to be close by. That's less than 1% or 0.2% of the passengers boarding within the city of San Bernardino. There is one other proposed change that impacts residents in the city of San Bernardino, and that's to our ADA service. Currently, we have a service called Omni Access. If you live, by regulation, if you live within 3/4 of a mile of fixed route service, we have a qualifying disability. We have a shuttle service that can pick up ADA eligible clients. Approximately 2010, we extended that to city boundaries. It's a very expensive service, and we cannot continue to afford going above and beyond the federal mandate. We do have a special transportation services department that does offer some other opportunities. In that beyond the boundary service, there were approximately 9 individuals in the city of San Bernardino who made approximately 270 trips in the last year. One of those individuals made over 200 of the trips, so it's really a significant impact for one person. We have reached out to that person with letters and to make sure they're aware of the proposed changes. As I said, the key timeline that we have is we did start talking about the scale of changes. Our board did approve us to go for a call for public hearing, which we began in January and are concluding later this month. We did have 22 meetings scheduled. 21 of those have occurred, several council presentations. But if you would like to get more information, please go to omnitrans.org/connect forward. We're collecting feedback until February 13th, and you can get information on the email address on the slide. There have been a number of presentations and meetings within the city of San Bernardino. I believe we have had 6, excluding the presentation tonight. So we do feel that we've reached out at considerable length. With that, I know that was a lot of information really quickly, but I'm happy to take any questions or just thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bryant. At our last, I think it was our December, possibly the January board meeting, I asked you to come and make a presentation to the City Council. We're grateful for your contributions to provide maximized service to our residents here in our community. I've expressed several concerns, and I think that right on with the data points. And I appreciate all of the hard work and earnest that you've done in staving off a lot of those cutbacks. Obviously, data drives it, and so we appreciate what you're doing. We'll open it up for any questions or comments from council members at this time. Councilmember Barr.
Yes. Any reason why the ridership is not what you would expect? Is it only in the city or?
No, we have seen ridership declines throughout our service area, and I think more importantly, it's not Omnitrans' service that's seen ridership declines. There's been ridership declines throughout California. Some of that deals to there have been a number of studies to why. The biggest thing that came out of a significant UCLA study was a significant increase in car ownership tied to a good economy, tied to changes in driver's license rules, and some other factors like that.
And I had another question, but I'll let my colleagues ask.
Councilmember Figueroa.
You alluded to earlier as far as the duplication of services for certain routes. Are there any plans to assess the duplication of services in regards to route number 2?
So with route number 2, because the spacing between the stations on SBX is a little over, averages about a mile, we are not looking at making the reduction in service on route 2. One of the things that is changing on route 2 is there is a reduction in frequency to 70 minutes, but we're not looking at eliminating route 2, even even though there is clearly duplication between SBX and Route 2. We cannot do that based on the federal regulations I mean, I can get into details, but with some federal regulations.
Okay, very good. Thank you. If there's no more questions, council member, final question.
I'm just wondering, I had a business owner actually on Waterman and 21st, and they were requesting if that bus stop can be moved. Would you be the right person to contact, or should I go to the website?
I would be the right person to contact. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. We appreciate you. Also, Chair would like to recognize Erin Rogers. Ms. Rogers, thank you for coming tonight and lending your resources here. She's our director of the Omnitrans system and newly appointed, and we're just so grateful for your contributions here to our community and the ridership. We know that there are lots of woes in our ridership, as we determined in the last 3 months here, but we're grateful for Omnitrans. We're grateful for your contributions here to our community, and we thank you. Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to our county fire presentation. I'll recognize our County Fire Chief, Dan Muncy, to present our County Fire Report. Sir?
I want to apologize for being a few minutes late. They have me going event to event. We serve 66 different communities, over 20,000 square miles. And I don't know that I've been home in about 3 months, but that's okay, because this is my job and this is what I need to do. I'm Dan Muncy. I'm your County Fire Chief. I recognize many, many people here.
Hold on, Chief Muncy. Yes, sir.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I just want to congratulate you on becoming our new chief for the county. So you were probably late because you had to wear a tie today, huh? Now that you're the chief, you had to put on a tie, and it took you. Do you know how to tie one?
It's really hard when you're looking in a mirror because everything's backwards.
Congratulations, Dan. Congratulations. Chief, very, very glad to see you made the top dog. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Councilmember Sherrod. I truly appreciate it. It feels like family when I'm here. And while we serve 66 different communities, I feel at home. I know your staff. I know each and every one of you. We've worked so closely together over the years, and more importantly, you know me. And as I'm going to the different cities and the communities we serve, I'm talking a little bit about the County Fire's direction. And I'm providing the same message to the communities, and I'm providing the same message to our folks on the floor. The first, I call it the 3 C's. I'm not too brilliant sometimes, but I can remember 3 C's in a row. And the first C is that I'm going to be the best communicating fire chief that you've had. You're going to see me. I'm going to be coming to your council. You're going to be able to be, I'm going to be approachable through the city manager's offices, through personal relationships. You're going to see me at the League of City and other events. You're going to see me in your community being your fire chief. You can also find me on Twitter at SBC Fire Chief. Well, these things are important to me. Creating a Spanish Facebook page is important to me, and I've been working with some of our previous council members to do that, because it turns out that 67% of our population speaks Spanish at home. But I'm going to be a communicator. The second C is that I'm going to be involved in the community. And I mentioned you're going to see me out in the community, and it's more than just setting forth a message. And we have a message as the fire department. San Bernardino City is, I think, next on the docket to be one of the greatest cities in California, if not the United States. It's just the progression of technology, it's the workforce, it's the water that we have available, it's the people that are leading the city. It's a wonderful place to be. But it's also can be a very dangerous place to be. And I tend to think of everything in public safety. So everything's dangerous to me. I mean, you can imagine when my kids go outside to ride their bicycle, they have their helmets on. We have to get out in the community, and we have to make sure that our residents are prepared for the next event. You guys realize this is earthquake country, right? Anybody that's been here realizes that Cajon Pass, the reason it's a pass is that there's the San Andreas Fault that's going through there. Those of you who lived in our community realize that we can have sudden floods like this. And those of you that live in this community understand that fires exist in our jurisdiction. If it's just the fire department that's coming to save you during the earthquakes, the floods, and the fires, then we just simply do not have enough firefighters. and we're never going to have enough firefighters. We have to create resilient communities, and the way that we do that is to engage in two-way communication with each other. And we educate each other educate me on what your needs are and how we can support you better, and I educate you on how do you support yourself when we have these crises that occur in our county and in our nation. The third C is collaboration, and I mentioned one of the collaborations with the communities, and it's collaboration with the city. Whether it's the library and making sure that your fire chief or fire engine showing up to read to the kids. I just realized that I'm in a library right now. I didn't even think about it, but I've been in this building many times as your fire chief doing those things. Or if there's an innovative way that we can save the city some money. I've always said that I'm not the city of San Bernardino Fire Department. I can never be that. But I can be the very best fire department your city has. And I'm going to be that. So you're going to have me engaging with those three C's: collaboration, communication, and city involvement. Dan Mejia, would you come up, please? I don't need to introduce Assistant Chief Dan Mejia. I was here previously as your fire chief, and Dan took my place. He's doing a great job and exceeding me in many different ways. I'm very proud of the work that he's done. Dan is here to stay. We're happy with the work that he's doing in San Bernardino. I was only here 2 years, and it went by in a blink of an eye. And we really want the consistency of leadership here. It takes a while to break in a new fire chief and for them to really learn the city and learn each of your needs and learn the community. And Dan's just done a great job with that. Dan has the full authority of the fire department. He is the area fire chief. He has the weight of my office, the weight of my badge to make decisions here to make sure that the citizens are safe at all times. So understand that Dan is truly empowered, and he has my respect, my admiration. But let me tell you, when I first got hired, you can hear him laughing in the background. When you're a probationary firefighter, sometimes, and especially back 25 years ago, they made sure that every day that you knew that you're a probationary firefighter. And there's this one guy that we all feared as probationary firefighters, and his name's Dan Mejia. And the reason is Chief Mejia is one of the quickest wits that you'll ever meet. He can recall the most obscure information. He would test us on things. Do we have any heavy equipment operators or truck drivers in the audience here? Anybody? Okay. But one of the questions, like a typical question would be like, hey, Dan, when the Jake brake goes on, do the brake lights light up in the back of the engine? And you're sitting there and you're scratching your head and you're thinking, well, probably, but I don't know. And then, you'd be off to check those things. Dan is very technical oriented. He wants to understand and has just a deep desire to understand how things work and then to share that knowledge with the future firefighters. So I want to thank you for allowing me to come and reintroduce myself to the council. I'm going to look forward to continuing working with you to make sure that we build the best fire protection possible, the best public safety. We're going to work very strongly with your police department. We've got a great relationship with that. We're going to continue to foster that. We're going to work hard on hiring out of the local community and making sure that our citizens become firefighters. And those of you that know me understand that diversity is more than just a word. And hiring of the local community means that our firefighters will be here on and off duty. Turns out when you're a firefighter, you're never off duty. Even when you're off, everybody knows where you live, and we are the anchors of this community. It's important that we are here. Before I sit down and shut up, because I know you have a lot of business on the docket, Doc, is there any questions that I can address from the council?
We'll open up to questions. Not, we thank you, sir. We thank you for your fire career and history, and we thank you for starting it here in San Bernardino. We're very, very proud of you, Dan, and we wish you a lot of success and as you head the top job. So thank you again. Councilmember?
Yeah, well, I just know that we're going to be moving forward aggressively with updating our general plan, and as you mentioned before, natural hazards are a major component of what we have to deal with in this community and prepare for and mitigate. So I just want to make sure that going forward we'll be able to ensure that we can count on your office to advise us and help us best understand how to plan out the future of our community in a way that ensures the safety of our residents and our ability to respond to them effectively and make them more resilient.
So community risk reduction is something that's very important to the fire service, and it's evolving at this point. We've done a great job responding to incidents throughout our county. We have the best firefighters in the world, and it's not just my opinion. It's the nation's opinion. I've been blessed to be a national speaker and go to many events, and people come up to me and say, wow, your San Bernardino County firefighters are amazing. We ran 139,339 calls last year, and of those, I stay awake at night thinking, how many of those calls could I have prevented? What do I need to do? And so as I'm going around the county, I actually use San Bernardino as an example sometimes. Don't get mad at me, but I think you're going to understand this. I'm going to ask the audience, how many of you have lived here more than, say, 3 or 4 years? Raise your hand. Okay. What locations in the city do we have fires every single year? Shout them out. Little Mountain, Harris Hill, Waterman, 40th Street. You don't have to live here very long, and you guys knew those answers in your head. And so I sit there and I think, what is predictable is preventable. And as I was hired, I told Gary McBride, I told my boss, I did. I told him this. I said, if I'm in my office more than 10% of the time, fire me because I'm not doing my job. And the second thing I told him is, if Little Mountain burns again, fire me. Because we need to do everything we can to keep these fires from burning. Last year when the water fire was burning through the city of San Bernardino, it hit a gulch, it started down in the city. The firefighters did a great job to keep it out of the structures. But what the public doesn't understand, or they don't know, and it probably hasn't been communicated to the council, is that fire also went up towards the reservation. But you know how much the reservation had burned? Very little. Because the reservation hired some of our hand crews that went in there and cut a fire break, and that fire burned to the fire break and went out. Like that. That's the kind of stuff, Councilmember Nickel, that we have to do in your ward. We have to aggressively do a community risk analysis, understand what are the dangers to our community, how are we going to limit these dangers, how are we going to mitigate these things before it ever occurs. I don't have the resources to do 100% of this. I need the community, I need the neighborhood associations, I need the citizenry, I need the council member to work with the fire department to make sure that our citizens are safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Richard.
Yes, thank you. Chief Bunsey, I just want to say congratulations to you, and I want to also thank you for the committee that you put together to attract more diversity within San Bernardino County's fire department. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, when are we going to have our next meeting?
Good question. Now that the fire chief, things are settling down, we're going to have it soon. It's, and Councilmember, you understand that I want to work with workplace development too. That's one of the collaborators. And ensuring that we're taking our local workforce, and as we're creating this cradle to career concept, that we offer them opportunities. That's partnering with our associations here in the city too, to help us find really good people. So our committee, when I started chairing that committee, what I realized first off is that we had a bunch of firefighters on this diversity committee, and a lot of firefighters look like me. Well, maybe they're a little better looking, but the point is well made. And so we reached out to different groups, the NAACP, the Hispanic Chamber, and we asked them to join our committee in the front. And I said, I'd rather have your input up ahead of time versus we hire, and then you bash us and say, look, you're only hiring white males from Orange County. What's going on here? We need to partner together. And what I've asked these groups is go find us great individuals, and then let us design a career pathway for them. Let us find opportunities. And we have some great entry-level positions in the fire department that did not exist when I was hired. We have our hand crew program, and we have our ambulance operator program. Find great people that we can hire, and those are basically no qualifications or minimal qualifications. And then once we hire them, work with us. We'll get them into paramedic school. We're going to, but they're going to need strong mentors from the community. They may need someone to go babysit their kids. They may need someone that can give them gas money to get to school, but this needs to be a partnership. I will say this, that across the nation, diversity in the fire service is not doing well. And often fire chiefs will just throw their hands up in the air and say, look, we have qualifications, and when the people show up, they don't meet the qualifications, we can't hire them. And that's not an acceptable answer. So working together, we can change our diversity, we can hire more members of our community.
Very good. Councilman Mulvihill.
Yes, Dan. Does the County Fire have an Explorers program like the PD does?
We do, and that's probably the best program that we've had. I would say 30% of our firefighters. Probably 30% of our firefighters came from the Explorer program. So what the Explorer program is a lot like the Boys or Girl Scouts, where individuals from 14 years old to 20 years old can join this program. And we give them training, we give them gear, we allow them to respond to emergencies. They just can't operate in what we call immediate danger to life and health. From that program, we've been able to hire most of our local firefighters that live locally in our county from that program. Over the last year, we've expanded it. The Public Safety Academy here in San Bernardino is now a sponsored Explorer post. At the last Explorer Academy graduation, we had the Public Safety Academy there, but we're really tapping into that academy because that's a great resource. There's a great group of kids there that have been taught leadership. They've been taught the importance of public service from a very young age.
And Chaffey College has a fire training program as well.
Crafton Hills is probably the best one here. We have a strong partnership with Crafton Hills. Matter of fact, I just signed a letter supporting them to form a joint training center for the region, which will not only help our fire department, will help Crafton Hills allow their college students to get a better education, as well as other neighboring fire departments.
I think it's good to get the word out there that those kinds of programs are available for young people.
Thank you, and that's what I mean by partnering with the community and with the council to put the opportunities out there and let everybody know that being a firefighter isn't just a pipe dream. It's something that everybody can achieve. John, I don't know how old you are, I'm thinking 39. We hire 40-year-olds all the time.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate you. I'm happy being a mayor, and I'm not going anywhere, so thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity
for all
to come.
of what you do for our community, and we thank all our fire professionals in our community. Thank you.
I want to take a second and thank your staff for your support over the years and the citizens here. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. All right. Let's give them applause. Thank you. This time we'll move into our public comments. We will utilize both podiums, please, tonight. First person is Hardy Brown, followed by Thomas Fleming, followed by Treasurer Tees.
Hardy says he wants, Hardy Brown, and I'm Cheryl Brown speaking for him. He wanted me to compliment the chief for listening and hearing that we do need a diverse fire service. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I think he went out. He didn't hear me. But Hardy wants you to know he's very, very pleased with that report. He's also told me that he's really concerned with the news that Macy's is not going to be here.
I'm sorry, Ms. Brown. We'll start the clock for you. Just a moment, please. Thank you. Thank you. Please proceed, Ms. Brown.
Okay. You want me to talk about Macy's? Okay. First, let me say, I'm reading his script today. First, let me say thanks for dropping your appeal to not restore the city attorney and city clerk's pay. At your last meeting, you had a public safety report, and I watched from home. I was impressed with the presentation, but I have some concerns or questions that I need someone to respond to by email or at your next meeting so the public can be informed. As I looked and listened for diversity, I noticed the chaplain staff picture is a good representation that looks like the demography of the city. However, you failed to speak about the racial composition of your Explorers program. The Police Activities League Community Affairs picture does not look like our city, nor did I understand that the makeup of the youth they serve were diverse. I do understand the personnel and training of officers as is tied to budget constraints, but you did not talk about the racial composition and outreach or recruitment strategies to attract a more diverse staff. This is critical in a city where the black population is underrepresented in the police department and the city staff. I also know you're trying to extend Measure Z, but you failed to fully explain how the money has been spent and how many African Americans were hired using Measure Z money. I know that I cannot support extending Measure Z until I get answers to those concerns. Your Operations Division District Command representation is what got me involved almost a year ago, when you did not hire one staff, one Black or Latino, as command of the community's policing. The picture you used in presentation for the patrol did not have one Black in it. Question: do you keep records by race and gender on traffic stops? The last thing he wants me to say is that, Bessine, he wants you to know that he's going to endorse you for the 6th Ward City Council. Is that it?
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Thomas Fleming, followed by Treasurer Teese.
Oh, I'm sorry. He just now told me I didn't turn it over. Let me just finish what he had to say.
Please. Yeah, sure.
Okay, from your traffic division, now it makes sense. From your traffic division, you have a lot of community interaction with citizens, which generated $2.4 million through traffic stops and other vehicle-related violations. This money is out of the pockets of people whose median income is $40,000 a year. By comparison, you just gave the chief and the assistant chief a salary increase of $37,000 more a year. 2 employees got the raise, and there's already $250,000 plus the salary, a year plus the salary. Think about it. A family of 4 is expected to provide his or her family in this city and pay taxes, while you give the money to people who do not pay taxes or live in the city. I was happy to hear that Councilmember Bessine Richard request that these personnel reports and breakdown according to race. It takes all of us paying taxes, but it's wrong for Blacks to receive very little employment or contracts with the city. Something is drastically wrong, and that's when he said that he was going to endorse Bessine. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Our next speaker is Thomas Fleming, followed by Treasurer Teese.
Good evening. Thank you for this time. In July, I witnessed a really bad accident on Baseline. It was really bad. A lot of people were screaming. People were bleeding out. It took a long time for the police of San Bernardino to get out there. I mean, people were dying, and it took a long time. These cars flipped over. People were just like sitting down with blood all over the place, and there were about 30 people outside, and we were all watching just these people bleed out. And then the police finally came, and the one African-American who was doing exactly what we were doing, which was witnessing just horrible management of saving lives, was pulled and pushed and discriminated against by light-skinned cops of San Bernardino. And he was pushed about 200 feet continuously for doing exactly what everyone else was doing, including Mexicans, including myself. I just wonder, why is that? Why do you hire people like that? I know, Mr. Mayor, you went to a religious school. I don't know if you believe in God or not, but who killed Jesus? The Romans, right? You know, they killed Jesus. He was about love. You know, I'm standing here and there's a guy with a gun. There's a guy with a gun over there. I mean, how many guns are in here, right? What is that supposed to say? I mean, who are you protecting? You know, what's so dangerous about the public, right? The only danger is the people with the guns. It's the truth, okay? Okay, also another thing. The thing the lady said over there, the African-American, it's just deplorable. It's deplorable how you guys treat African-Americans here in the city. You know, just keep them in slums, the trash, the horrible conditions. Right up the street in Highland, it's beautiful. You know, down in Redlands, Loma Linda, all these places are beautiful, but you keep San Bernardino with the high percentage of African-Americans horrible looking. What is that? Have you came out with the truth of who you worked for before you were mayor? How many companies, those drug companies killed people for profit? Have you come true with the people? You should not be mayor. You should be behind bars. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Treasurer Tease.
Mayor and council, so I'm sure like you guys, I've read the breaking news that the mayor has 2 claims of sexual harassment against him. And thank you, Fred, for being the only honest council person who was not even shocked by this. Because over the last year, you all have allowed a hostile environment to fester. You allowed the former city manager to be brought just against the wall by Bill Asaley, by John Valdivia, and then you fired her when she went for you for help. You allowed that to happen. And then Terry turned her back on Andrea and said it wasn't really that bad. But I remember the day it was for you. I remember when they fired Westbound Communication and you wanted to quit. So what did you think was going to happen to the employees? When they went against 2 other elected officials, tried to cut their pay in retaliation, when John sat down with Gigi and promised to make her the new city manager if she would quit being the city clerk, when you tried to get rid of Gary because he was being warned not to be around employees like this. Go do your own public records request and find out how many times John was told you're overstepping the line. You guys have allowed this to happen. You have litigation after litigation after litigation for claims against the city and the mayor. And what do? You remain silent. You support him. You take his money and his handouts. You assign the same people he does to our charter committee because you think in 2 years or 4 years we will change it to make him a strong mayor. He has federal aspirations. The only thing we hope John does federally is go to prison. Enough is enough in this city. We have watched it wreak havoc. We have a very, very fragile system. We had a dog murdered once again at our animal shelter, and yet for a year, people have asked you to remove Frank McCumbert from management, and nothing. You sat there and tried to outsource it. We have complained constantly about blight and unsafe conditions, people being murdered on the corners and liquor stores. And what do, Basine? You take money. You try to get your son a job in the city manager's office, but yet you want the rest of the community to be okay with warehouse jobs. You are failing us because you are weak. You have no integrity or ethics. Juan straight out lied to me and the Third Ward when we asked him if he was going to keep his girlfriend as an animal shelter commissioner. He's been offered other applicants and nothing, because that is the true character. He does what he is told. Henry, you go where the wind blows you, and that sucks because you were the next one in line. Teddy, you make a motion if John tells you to jump. You are all going to go down with him, so start talking now before he throws you under the bus.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Options for Youth. Ms. Arroyo, welcome. Followed by John Schollenberger, followed by Ray Culberson, Gregory Taylor. Options for Youth. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Ileana Arroyo. I'm the principal at Options for Youth. I was raised here in San Bernardino. I went to all schools here in San Bernardino, and I truly have a passion for the students and for the kids here in San Bernardino, truly trying to make this city a better city. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Options for Youth. We are a charter school that serves 7th through 12th grade students. We also serve, we serve the at-promised youth, and what that really means is any student that really isn't fitting in the traditional setting, we serve. A lot of our students, our teen parents, have been through the system, have like a low socioeconomic status. So we really just wanted to share with you a little bit about us and to let you guys know that you guys are more than welcome to come and visit us anytime. A representative from John Valdivia's office actually came to one of our schools in November, and we had an incredible time just showing her around, so we really thank you for that. Some of the things that we offer for our students, we are an independent study school, so our students don't come to school regular hours like traditional schools. We have independent study teachers as well as direct instruction teachers where our classrooms hold only 15 to 20 students per one teacher. We also serve, for a lot of purposes, a lot of the times, what our students need the most is that social emotional support, that mental health support. So we do have psychologists at each one of our locations. We also do a lot of really fun field trips for our students to learn a little bit more about themselves. We take them all over the world, from nationally, from Washington, D.C., San Francisco, to Colorado. We also take them to China, Cuba. We actually, 20 of our students just came back on Saturday from Italy. And all of these trips have a social emotional aspect to them. Our students are losing their dreams. If you are from here, you know that we just need to support the students and the students' dreams. So we are really just here to support them and just get them to graduate and focus on their dreams after graduation. So I hope you guys come by. You guys have my card and my brochure. So if you guys want to reach me directly, my cell phone number is on the card, and you can always go to one of the schools to check it out. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arroyo. You have 3 locations in San Bernardino, 985 Southeast Street. San Bernardino's second location is 1148 East Highland Avenue, and the third location is 1136 North Mount Vernon. We wish you a lot of success as you train kids in our community, and we thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is John Schollenberger. Mr. Schollenberger, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, and I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize my councilman, Jim Mulvihill. Jim Mulvihill he lives in my community in Campo Santo. He's an active part of our Neighborhood Watch program, neighborhood betterment and safety improvement activities. He does his best to attend neighborhood meetings. He answers my emails promptly and is visible and approachable in the community. Jim is a key player in tackling high-profile issues within our Campo Santo neighborhood that, if left unattended, would escalate into much larger issues that would take us and our law enforcement teams much longer to resolve. Here's a few examples. A problem house on North D Street. Jim, along with the community, saw quickly a house that was fast becoming the hub for criminal activity in our neighborhood due to neglectful owners who live primarily out of the city of San Bernardino. They allowed the house to become run down and only took corrective action when forced to do so by code enforcement. This attracted the criminal transients in our area to set up a base camp within that house for criminal activity. The situation was becoming so dangerous that families living in proximity to the house were being severely negatively impacted by with their safety being put in jeopardy. Jim, along with our area our watch groups and our law enforcement, worked collectively to bring about a positive change. As a result, the house was sold and renovated. Then the house was sold to a fantastic new family who care about and are active in our neighborhood. Criminal activity traveling through Campo Santo. Jim, along with area block captains and watch groups, is active in recognizing criminal activity in real time and takes immediate action to address it. In order to eradicate it and keep it from escalating into larger issues, it takes a lot of work. Because of his prompt actions and participation, we have been able as a community to keep Campo Santo a nice place to live and raise families, and one that is attractive to quality home buyers. Most homes in our area are being listed for and selling at over $300,000. And that's because due to the work that he and our community are doing collectively. Jim, this is long overdue. I appreciate the work that you helped me do as a block captain in our community. It's important for a council person to be involved 100%. And you've been right there. You've been on the front lines with us, doing what you can do to help make our community a better place to live. And there's a lot of people that would back me up on that statement. You hear, it's easy for people to come up here and criticize, but I wanted to get an opportunity to just say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Ray Culberson, followed by Gregory Taylor, Fausto Barragan, and Gina Beck.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, council, persons, everybody in the audience. My name is Ray Culberson. I represent Real Journey Academies. I see friends up there, faces. Everybody's a positive force in our community, and so we thank you for that. Well, we started Entrepreneur High School, and it's in Highland, but 85 to 90% of our kids come from San Bernardino. If you guys are familiar with the old Kmart building that we converted, put $22.5 million into that school, made it high technology, trying to teach kids how to do business. I used to be a director of youth services for San Bernardino, so I was knee-deep in all the gang stuff, the violence out there, trying to mitigate those things. So we did those things, but then I got the idea that we got to teach kids how to fish, how to figure out a new way of doing things. And so Entrepreneur High School was born, and we're moving in that direction. So we want to invite all of you. It's in the city of Highland, but most of the kids come from San Bernardino. We want you to come by and see the facilities, see the kids, talk to them, interact with them, those kind of things. We have professional development Fridays in which you can come and just speak, or if you want to just create an assembly, we'll do whatever we can to just open the door, because kids need to see that there's a step-by-step process by where in which you get to the place you need to get to. So on that note, I'm going to invite you here. How many people like salsa and cumbia? If you like salsa and cumbia, I got the best salsa and cumbia band coming to Entrepreneur High School on February 28th. And so you better get it together and do your little thing. But we got the best band coming, and then we have a DJ that's going to be there that's going to do salsa and cumbia. And I got them, I have to say this correctly. They said, I said Grenada, but you got to say Granada. I got them from the Granada and Alhambra, and they're going to come and they're going to play. So we're inviting you on February 28th between the hours of 8 and 12 to come to the old Kmart building. You got our little flyer here to come out and bring your spouse, come out and enjoy the salsa and the cumbia, and then see Entrepreneur High School. And then beyond that, come out and talk to the kids. You don't need to make an appointment. Call and just say, I'm here, I want to walk through. So I know you're busy, so all you got to do is stop and go through, and you'll come and enjoy yourselves. So if I don't see you there, I'm going to think one thing. You don't know how to salsa, and you don't know how to cumbia. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Culberson. For our community, it's Friday, February 28th. It's a free event. It's 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. According to the flyer, 8 p.m., 12 a.m., 26655 Highland Avenue. It's on the southeast corner there of Highland and Arden. Sir, thank you for your service to our community. Thank you. Mr. Taylor, welcome tonight.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, I've given you guys a break for a few months, and I'm back in the city. I've been gone for a while working up north in Sacramento, and I come back to my city, and I'm disappointed. I see the trash, the homelessness, no response from the police department when we're supposed to have these community relation officers helping us out. I don't know what to do. Like I told you once before, Mr. Mayor, you can be recalled. The citizens will get behind having you recalled if we cannot get the city turned around. To me, the city has turned into a joke. I've lived here for 12 years. When I came here, I married my wife. I was proud of my city. Since you've taken office, like I said, I told you before, I voted for you. I thought you were going to make a change. I called my councilwoman this week. I said I expected to get a call back. I got nothing back. I have no problems calling the council office. I would do it every week, every day. I will call and report CRMs. I get CRMs. They say they've been taken care of. When I get home from work, I'll drive by the areas to see if they've been taken care of. They've never been taken care of. I'll call my my community relations officer, talk with him. Things don't get resolved. That's something that you need to take up, Mr. Mayor, and I will back you if you take care of this stuff. But if you don't, I will call for your job.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. I'm going to call you, Mr. Taylor. I got it right here. We're going to have coffee. It's my commitment. Mr. Fausto Barragan. Sir, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Valdivia. Good evening, council members. My name is Fausto Barragan, and I am the principal at Norton Science and Language Academy here in San Bernardino. Let me tell you that I am very proud about our school community, and I'm excited about our upcoming project, and I want to thank you for your support with our new Waterman project with the construction of our new school. Norton Academy is a very special place, a community of educators who are passionate about empowering students to become global citizens. I'm not going to stand here and I'm not going to compare other district schools or other districts. What I'm going to say, I'm not going to compare it because as educators, we are dedicated to serving our scholars. Not just dedicated, but passionate about serving our scholars. But I will talk a little bit about Norton Science and Language Academy. As a countywide charter, we serve students from over 20 school districts. We currently serve 830 students, and parents and families choose to have their students travel to our school for their education. We have students from as far as Azusa, from the High Desert, from Palm Desert, who choose to come to Norton Science and Language Academy. A large percentage of our students are from San Bernardino City. If you were to visit our school, you would see our students learning in Spanish and English, and you will also see instruction in Mandarin Chinese, physical education, which is not available to all students because of budgets, physical education, art, and science. Our teaching staff is exceptional, and they choose to work at Norton because of our exceptional dual language and science-focused programs. We provide students the opportunity to explore the world not only through a computer, not only through books, but through real-life experiences. In October, we did something that was unprecedented. We sent 6 middle school girls to study for a week in Concepcion, Chile, in South America, at Colegio Concepcion, and they studied through our Goldstone Apple Valley Radio Telescope program. We have a telescope in the high desert where our students get to monitor space activity with black holes and stars. So that's another real-life science experience that we provide for our students. Our staff also has traveled to China to collaborate in Shanghai with teachers who are interested in knowing what the Lewis Center for Educational Research and Norton Science and Language Academy is doing with teaching. How amazing would it be for San Bernardino to be home to our new transitional kindergarten through 12th grade Norton Science and Language Academy, so that we can offer more students, up to 1,400 students, the opportunity to learn in a STEAM, world language, and dual language program. Thank you so much for your support. I look forward to collaborating with you with our new campus. Thank you
very much. I also want to recognize Jennifer Lamb. Ms. Lamb, I don't know if you remember. I'm sorry. I think I went to Jennifer Lamb, so Lisa Lamb. My apologies, Ms. Lamb. I remember about 3.5 years ago, you and I sat together in a conference room, and those conference room discussions are now a reality tonight. Many of your students will have those new facilities that you and I spoke about 3.5 years ago or so. With that land swap agreement, I remember getting that piece of property, and we're excited for your group here tonight. So thank you for hanging on with us tonight. I hope it's not too boring for you. All right, our next public speaker is Gianna Beck and Duberly Beck. Gianna, and I hope I got that right. It's either Dubley or Duberly. My apologies. Yeah.
Buenas noches, good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Gianna Beck, and I am a proud student here at Norton. When I was younger, I did not realize the value of being bilingual. Attending Norton since kinder, you take it for granted and think all schools are like Norton. However, I quickly realized that Norton is special. Norton provides a small and safe environment, and our teachers and staff are dedicated to our success. I'm thankful that because of Norton and its amazing teachers, that at 13 years old, I am bilingual and was able to experience traveling to Chile, South America. Myself and 5 other students had the experience of a lifetime through the Global Exchange Science Program and visited Chile for 9 days. It was great being able to speak Spanish, learn new things, and be in a different culture. Had I not been at Norton, I would not have had the opportunity to have this unforgettable experience. Continuing at the same school through high school, it will provide healthier social adjustment and a bigger sense of belonging, which leads to a successful college and career experience. Thank you for considering the growth of Norton.
Thank you very much. Ms. Beck, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council, city members. My name is Duberly Beck. I am a parent of 2 students at Norton. Both my son and daughter have started at Norton since kindergarten and are now biliterate 6th and 8th graders. I am excited and proud to see the city of San Bernardino, where I grew up, and continue to welcome San Bernardino to grow and continue to welcome the first K-12 charter school in the region with a brand new and much well-deserved campus. What a great resource to the community of San Bernardino. Families from all over the county will want to be in San Bernardino, knowing that the city has such a wonderful opportunity to offer. The unique and special dual immersion program that Norton offers is the reason my husband and I choose Norton for our children. Not to mention the wonderful and dedicated teachers, staff, and an amazing parent community. Because of Norton, my daughter and 5 other, as you heard, Norton students had the opportunity to participate in a global exchange program for 9 days. They traveled and attended a school and university in Chile, South America, where they stayed with host families and, due to them being bilingual, had no issues communicating abroad. These students would not have had this opportunity while in the 8th grade at another school. Every parent who enrolls their children in Norton have the desire for their children to attend from kinder through senior year, something that has not happened in the previous years, and we are looking forward to that. It has been rough on many families to not have that option before and have their students transition to other schools after middle school. Norton is a very special school and community, and I thank you for your time and look forward to the City of San Bernardino welcoming Norton Science and Language Academy as a K-12 school.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our public hearing portion, it's item number 9, imposing the liens on certain parcels of real property located within the city of San Bernardino for uncollected business registration fees. I'm opening the public hearing tonight at 8:16 p.m. Ms. City Manager, at this time, could a staff member please present the report on this item?
Yes, Mayor. Talisha Lopez, our business registration manager, is here to present the report.
Okay. Sorry, Mayor, I'm not.
And her boss, Paul Espinoza.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Before you this evening is a resolution allowing the City of San Bernardino to assess certain unpaid business registration taxes and penalties annually, or sometimes more than annually. The City is allowed through Municipal Code Section 5.04076 to assess certain unpaid business taxes and penalties. At this time, we are providing this resolution to approve the registration lien list. Some of these liens have been removed in the past when the businesses or operators have paid their taxes. This is our update. It's before you this evening in compliance with Municipal Code Section, again, 5.04076. At this time, staff will take any questions, concerns, or comments the council may have.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the council? Councilman Mulvihill?
Yes, Paul. What is the primary reason for the liens? What's the...
As council is aware, we have business registration taxes that sometimes aren't paid. Mm-hmm. When these aren't paid, and after a proper and lengthy notification process, if they're not paid through the municipal code, we have the ability to assess these penalties and taxes.
Is there any kind of a concentration in terms of the kinds of businesses?
We have about, I believe it's about 242 Is that right? On liens right now? Right.
The current existing list has 242 accounts that remain unresolved.
We can look into that and get that information back to you. We don't have it segregated or categorized by
I'd just be
business type.
interested if, are they rental properties, are they?
Yes, this is specific to rental properties.
Rental, yeah. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Nickel. Jim.
Yeah, so in addition to rental properties, these are other types of business establishments, or what?
I'll have our business registration manager answer that if we have that information.
No, for the properties that are liened, it's only the rental properties, so it would be commercial property rentals and residential rentals.
Okay, so if you're a business that's operating here without a license, is there a penalty assessed? Is there any mechanism for us to collect on those businesses that are operating without a license?
Generally, our process for collecting for those would be our administrative citation process.
Okay, just citations. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions?
Move to approve.
There's been a motion and a second. Members would please cast their votes. I'm sorry, one moment before we cast our votes. Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments? Anyone wishing in the public to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, and the City Clerk, if there's any? Okay.
On item 9, the motion was made by Mr. Sanchez, the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and it passes 7-0.
Thank you very much. We're closing that hearing item at approximately 8:19 p.m. Moving on to item number 10, it's annexation number 3 to CFD 2019-1, maintenance service for tax zone number 4, APN 0266044139, adoption of resolutions for annexation into the Community Facilities District and first reading of an ordinance amending the ordinance levying special taxes for fiscal year. Today's hearing date is February 5th, 2019. The subject is annexation proceedings and elections for City of San Bernardino, as mentioned above. The public hearing is to consider annexation proceedings and elections for the City of San Bernardino, as indicated in the reading above. The public hearing is now open. The time is now 8:20. Are there any disclosures from council members? Seeing none, Madam Sitting Clerk, do you have a proof of publication that the notices are required by law have been given?
I do.
Do we have the complete file of exhibits, correspondence, and other documents?
Yes.
Are there any written communications on this matter?
No.
Thank you. Will the staff please introduce yourself and present the staff report?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Alex Kishti. I'm the Deputy Director of Public Works, City Engineer. And the item before you tonight is the public hearing for CFD number 2019-1 annexation number 3. I have Shane Spicer here from Spicer Consulting that will present the report to you, and they will answer any questions after he's done.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We'll be brief on the staff report. The item before you regarding the annexation is for the public hearing of annexation number 3 into the CFD. The developer, GOT Propane, has requested the city to assist in annexing their territory into the CFD to cover costs associated with the maintenance of improvements. The area proposed within the annexation includes all property within the DPD 1807, which includes the 2.78 gross acres of vacant commercial land. The proposed maximum annual tax is $1,136 per acre, and it will be included in the CFD as tax zone number 4. And the maximum tax includes an escalator that increases at the greater of CPI or 2%. The services that are included in the CFD are consistent with those others within the CFD 2019-1 for the annual maintenance of landscaping, street lighting, traffic signals, those improvements within the public right-of-way. In addition to those service costs, there are costs associated with administration and reserve funds included. This is the project location map of the property in question. Regarding the fiscal impact, it's anticipated that at build-out, the special tax revenues to provide those maintenance costs is approximately $2,837, and again will escalate annually based on the CPI or 2%. And there is no fiscal impact to the city's general fund. The annexation costs have been borne by the developer. So the recommended actions before the council is to hold the public hearing for the annexation, adopt a resolution calling the election, hold the special landowner election, adopt a resolution declaring the results, and upon approval of the preceding resolutions, introduce an ordinance amending the ordinance MC 1522 and levying and apportioning the special taxes within the CFD 2019-1 as it is now and will exist in the future, and schedule the final reading and adoption of the amended ordinance for March 4th, 2020. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you very much. We will now receive comment from any persons in the audience tonight who wish to speak on this matter and address the City Council. Each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. We ask that you please submit your speaker slip to the City Clerk, and if you do so, and proceed now. Are there any comments, Ms. City Clerk? Is there anyone in the audience who has not spoken that would like to speak about the item? Seeing none, would the city staff like to make any further comments? All right, do any members of our City Council have any questions of staff or wish to make any comments before I close the public hearing? Has the City Clerk received written protests to any of the matters addressed in this public hearing from any registered voters or landowners of more than 50% of the acreage located within the property to be annexed to Community Facilities District 2019-1?
I received 0 protests.
Thank you. I now declare the hearing closed, the time being 8:25 p.m. May I have a motion to adopt the resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors of the question levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services Annexation number 1. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any further discussion from council members? And on this, we'll ask for a voice vote. Ms. City Clerk.
Mr. Sanchez? Yes. Ms. Ibarra?
Yes.
Mr. Figueroa?
Yes.
Mr. Charette? Mr. Nickel?
Yes.
Ms. Richard? Yes. Mr. Mulvihill? The motion passes with a vote of 7-0.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. City Clerk. The resolution that we have just adopted calls for the elections within the property to be annexed to CFD number 2019-1 to approve such annexation and to authorize the levy of the special tax in accordance with the rate of method of apportionment to provide certain services within such property, which is to be held at this time by the City Clerk. The City Clerk?
Yes, I'm sorry. All ballots have been cast in connection with the election for CFD number 2019-1, and the election is now closed. Each of the ballot propositions have been approved by more than 2/3 of the votes cast in the election for CFD number 2019-1.
Thank you, Ms. City Clerk. Having received a certificate of the City Clerk certifying the results of the election, I'd entertain a motion to approve a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, declaring election results for Community Facilities District number 2019-1. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
And a second? Second. All right. Are there any further discussion from council members? If not, the clerk would please call the roll.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Ms. Ibarra?
Yes.
Mr. Figueroa?
Yes.
Mr. Charette? Mr. Nickel?
Yes.
Ms. Richard? Mr. Mulvihill? The item passes 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. City Clerk. I'd now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance amending ordinance number MC-1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2019-2020 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti, street sweeping, parks and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for capital replacement, and administrative expenses with respect to the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1 maintenance services. Is there a motion?
I'll move it.
A second by Councilmember Richard. If we could please, are there any further discussion on that? Madam City Clerk, would you please read the title of the ordinance?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't believe I have the right ordinance with me. 15. I'm sorry, I need to verify, I have 1528, but I believe the one I need is 1522. So if I can borrow the city manager's.
You could just read number 5.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. I'm sorry, I did have the correct one. An ordinance amending ordinance number MC 1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2020 to 2021 to pay the annual costs of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti, streets, street sweeping, parks, and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for capital replacement and administrative expenses with respect to City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1 maintenance services.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take a voice vote. If Ms. City Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Ms. Ibarra?
Yes.
Mr. Figueroa? Mr. Charette? Mr. Nichol?
Yes.
Ms. Richard? And Mr. Movihill. The item passes 7-0.
Thank you very much. This time the hearing is closed. It's approximately 8:30. Moving on to item number 11, it's mitigated negative declaration, mitigation monitoring and reporting program, General Plan Amendment 19-01 for the Development Code Amendment Zoning Map 19-05 Subdivision 1903 of tentative parcel map 2120 and conditional use permit of 119-10 of the Norton Science and Language Academy project. I now open the public hearing at approximately 8:31 p.m. The City Manager, at this time, could a staff member please present the report?
Travis Martin is here, and he'll introduce his consultant.
Thank you. And thank you, Mayor and Council. Item number 11 tonight, as you mentioned, is a general plan amendment, zoning map amendment, subdivision application, and conditional use permit. This is for the purpose of establishing a charter school, in this case, the Norton Science and Language Academy, at a new project site located approximately 230 South Waterman. This would be a relocation of their existing facility located on Central Avenue. As part of the project, we would be requesting a change of the general plan land use designation for the entire project site, changing the zoning designation, and doing a consolidation of the existing property, currently 16 separate parcels, into 2 parcels, one approximately 15.5 acres in size and one approximately 2.25. The zoning designation and general plan designation for this property would be changed to public facilities as requested. This is an aerial of the property. As you can see in the aerial, it's substantially vacant. There were a number of smaller existing structures on the western side of the property. Those have since been demolished. This is the existing land use designations for the property. The portion fronting Waterman along the right side of the image is currently office industrial park. The other portion on the west side, the left side of the image, is primarily single-family residential today. As part of the project, we would be reestablishing the Norton Science and Language Academy. This would allow their expansion on the site, as was previously mentioned by one of the speakers, up to a total of 130 staff members and allow them to serve just over 1,400 students, up from the between 800 and 900 that they currently serve at their existing site. This would support schooling all the way from kindergarten through high school, both operating from sometime around 8 a.m. in the morning till approximately 2:45 in the afternoon. And as part of the project, one of the significant improvements that they will be doing is located on the southeast corner of the project site. This would lead to the primary entry, as you'll see on the next slide. They would be signalizing that intersection. That's the intersection of Waterman and Valley. These are some of the existing images of the site. As I mentioned, it is primarily vacant right now, just overgrown, dirt, native grasses. This is the corner down at Waterman and Valley. This would be the intersection that would be signalized. And then this is an image of the site along the west side of the property along Allen between the project site and the single-family residential to the west. Here's an overview of the proposed project, or the proposed site plan. As you can see, all of the buildings for the school would be located along the Waterman Avenue frontage on the eastern side of the property. It's 8 separate buildings consolidated around 3 different quads so that the school is broken up kind of into the different grades. You have the kindergarten area, kind of the elementary area, and then going to the high school. And then they would have an athletic field that would be placed along the western side of the property across from the single-family residential. There's proposed landscaping plan for the project site. What we did work with the applicant on, especially along the Waterman Avenue frontage, was to really enhance the landscaping there to help give some impact to that corridor. Significant landscaping has been put in along the 2 main entries, or the 3 main points. The entry on the south end of the site, which would be their primary access point on Valley, the corner right there where the signal would be, and then along the 1 access point north on the site along Waterman Avenue. There's some renderings of the proposed project. This would be the main entry. What you'd be looking at is kind of the administration building. This would be the frontage along Waterman Avenue. This would be the north part of the project site, where one of the 2 primary parking lots exists. This would be closest to the kind of the kindergarten elementary school portion of the project. And then looking into one of the 3 quads that they would have. This one particularly is around the elementary school portion of the site. And then we do have finally an overview of the entire project. This is looking to the southwest from above Waterman Avenue across. You can see a parking lot on the north side. There's a parking lot all the way on the upper left, which would be the southern end of the site, and then the athletic fields to the rear, closer to the neighborhood. And with that, that would conclude my presentation. Our recommendation this evening, as noted, would be to adopt the resolution approving the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approving the general plan amendment, to introduce the ordinance amending the development code and for the zoning district classification, and then to approve the resolution for the subdivision and conditional use permit, as well as scheduling the second reading of the ordinance. I am available if you do have any questions. As well, we do have the representatives from the Lewis Center, the applicants on the project, if you have any other questions on the project. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may.
Thank you. At this time, we'll recognize individuals in the community who've expressed interest on speaking on this matter. I know that we've already addressed and had some of your folks here tonight. We'll go ahead and extend that invitation one more time. Are there any other individuals in the general audience who'd like to address the City Council on this matter? Yes, Mayor. Thank you. Mr. Boteo, please.
Honorable Mayor, Common Council, I live on Valley Street. I've been there for nearly 60 years, and there's about 1,000 residents in Meadowbrook, and there's been no mention tonight about community impact to the residents on the west side of the project, the parking situation, the increased traffic. I celebrate their mission. I'm on the board of directors of a charter school, one of the largest charter schools in California. So I'm in support of the project, but I've heard no mention, especially from the council member, about the community impact. And that should be the first concern for our representative of the first ward. So that's my concern. I exchanged information with Fausto. We're going to sit down and have coffee and talk about meeting with some of the residents to mitigate. And it's a great thing that's happening here, but if it were coming to someone else's community, that would be the first, especially Henry, Councilmember Mulvihill, and Councilmember Charette. That would be the first thing on your minds. How is this going to impact my residents? And with respect to me as a leader in my community and in my neighborhood, and to the residents who are poor, they're Latino, they're African American, They have 2 and 3 jobs. They can't come to these meetings. In respect to them, I would hope that there would be a conversation about community impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public wishing to address the council on this matter tonight? Ma'am? Ma'am, are you coming? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Council. Good evening. My name is Tori Gray, and I am a parent, board member, and San Bernardino County resident. The new campus setting for our school, including this high school expansion, will impact our families tremendously, including the families in the neighborhood from an economic perspective. When we think about the disadvantages in some of our neighborhoods here in San Bernardino, including where this school will be located, this will give the children in that area different perspective, different experiences, and different opportunities in the future to really have a different type of life. Because as we know, schools where students attend in low-income, disadvantaged neighborhoods, that tremendously affects the outcomes for their careers and really just how they turn out in general in life. And so what I'm really excited about for my 3 African American daughters as well is that the experiences and the opportunities that they will get from this school are tremendous. My oldest daughter, was one of the students who had the opportunity to go to Chile. And coming from, again, an African American home where we don't speak Spanish, this has opened her doors, opened the doors for her currently and in her future to give her experiences that really she could have never imagined. And also for my other 2 girls. So there's so many things that Norton offers, as you got to hear a lot about already from Gianna, from Duberly, and also from our principal. So not only, excited for my kids, but really excited for what it's going to do for the community of San Bernardino around the school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the audience who would like to address the City Council on this particular matter? If not, I'm closing the public hearing for the public portion at approximately 8:41 p.m. for deliberation and action. We do have some questions. We will go ahead and address if there's any members of the council wishing to ask a question to staff.
Yes. So I actually do have concerns about the traffic mitigations that are being put in place for this project. If we can go back to that one works well, but the site plan?
Yes.
All right, so I'm looking at it here, and what we have, to describe this to the public as well, what we have here on the right side, which is the west side of the campus, the east side of the campus would be the Waterman Avenue. So we have 6 lanes going in either direction and then 1 middle lane. What measures are being taken on that campus to mitigate traffic? Because there's a school just like that in the 3rd Ward, actually Lytle Creek, where it's set up very similar to that school there. And what you're going to have is you're going to have kids just in Lytle Creek parking opposite the elementary campus, running across the street. But in the case of Lytle Creek, you have 2 lanes in either direction. Here you have a total of 7 lanes. I think we're opening up the possibility of risking children's lives. Kids will be running across the street. I need to know before I approve this what is being done or what can still be done to mitigate not just the traffic on Waterman, but the issues we're also going to run into on Valley and Allen.
So I can, to answer that.
I know you have a pointer there. You're going to have to start showing me where the traffic is going in and the flow out. Okay. The entry points, exits, and traffic flow.
Absolutely. What I'd like to do to try to answer that is explain a little bit about how the site's been designed. I think that will address at least a number of your questions. So first and foremost, there are 3 access points onto the property.
Mm-hmm.
You have, I'm sorry,
it doesn't work.
It shows up on the wall, not on the television. So towards the upper right of the site, kind of right in line with the northernmost building.
Yes.
You do have the 1 access point off of Waterman. That has been designed as a right-in, right-out site, or access point.
Right in, right out. So everyone going from north
traffic,
to south.
Yeah, everyone going from south, yes, going in the southern direction.
Yes.
they would all be able to turn in and off of the site.
Yes.
But you wouldn't have, any of the queuing in that center lane for people going northbound trying to turn into the project site. All of that traffic would be directed to the main access point, which is down off Valley.
Because Waterman might as well be a freeway. There's 7 lanes there, and there's a tremendous amount of distance between the traffic light on the north side and the traffic light on the south side.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you've described what's going to happen on traffic coming in northbound. You're right in.
So what
out.
they've done as part of this, the primary consideration, because of the concerns on Waterman, everything in the traffic has been focused down along Valley. You cannot see the intersection,
I want the public to know this.
unfortunately.
Can you go to the other one, the rendition?
Yes.
That's going to describe better. Okay, there we go. Good.
Okay, I'll try to. So as you can see in the foreground, kind of centered on the image, that is the main driveway coming in.
Yes.
It's a little hard to see on there because it's such a large image, but there's that little median island
Yes.
in between the driveway. That's what's going to restrict the turning and leave it right in and right out only.
Okay.
When you get down to the southern end of the site, that's a little bit hard to see. It's all the way right where the image gets cut off.
Mhm.
There is a turnout that's shown along Waterman.
So the
That is-
traffic right in will exit from where?
Centered on the image,
Yeah.
just a little bit above the bottom of the image.
Uh-huh.
That's the only driveway there along Waterman.
So they're going to go in, they're going to do a loop, they're going to drop off the children, they're going to loop around?
If I can explain,
Okay,
I can
yeah.
answer that. So, right in, right out, just along Waterman. I'm going to skip back to the site plan if I may.
All right.
The very lower right of this image is the intersection of Waterman and Valley. That is the intersection that would be signalized as part of this. So that would be where the primary traffic would be directed. That would alleviate that distance between the signals you talked about. I believe it's Rialto on the northern end and then Mill on the southern end. That's sitting kind of approximately midway between those. The main driveway then that signal would lead to is right here at the southern point of the rendering. The way that the site has then been laid out is that traffic would come in there and make a clockwise movement around the entire campus, around all of the buildings. There's a drive aisle that exists between the sports field and the main campus. Traffic would come in, go north through that, across the parking lot on the top, and then it's a little hard to see on this image, but you have both a drive aisle fronting Waterman and a little bit of parking in that, and then inside that drive aisle is a drop-off and pickup lane that runs the entire length of the
Question
the
for you.
campus.
So is there a drive aisle between the athletic fields and the admin building?
No.
The drive, yes. Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
And that'll be open to
drop off?
Drop off of children and whatnot?
No, the drive aisle that's intended for drop-off is along the Waterman frontage.
It is,
If you think coming from the frontage, you have the sidewalk and the parkway, then there is a drive aisle that's their two-way drive aisle, just for the traffic. There's parking within that drive aisle, and then inside of that, immediately abutting the buildings, would be the drop-off area. So when the cars are queued up, children are either getting in or exiting. They're coming directly from the buildings. They're not even having to cross any vehicular traffic.
So there is
on-site.
no drive aisle between the athletic fields and the buildings?
There is one between
But
the
no
athletic
drop-off.
field on the western side. That is simply, there's no parking along it, but that is how the cars would get from the southern driveway on Valley up, making a clockwise motion around the buildings to the drop-off along Waterman.
So now what I see happening here
Mm-hmm.
is that the only drop-off for that entire campus is on the east side of that campus.
That is correct.
So the solution I see here, and correct me where I'm wrong, is that there needs to be a drop-off on the west side of that campus in between the athletic fields and the campus. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get a log jam on the east side, and you're going to get traffic on Waterman, and you're going to get cars going 80 miles an hour, which they do, I've seen them, and you're going to have cars stopped waiting to get into that drop-off.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, if I may, let me interject. Where I envision, and Mayor Pro Tem, I think you're right on, if we could possibly have an access point for drop-off off of Valley, just north of the athletic fields, you see where there's almost that opportunity there, so that's a lesser traveled road.
I believe
And that would be Julia. I think that's Julia.
Yes, the street that's actually on the left side is
Is Allen,
Allen. Valley
right.
is on the southern end.
Right.
Just to clarify.
So it'd be Allen and Julia.
There is a drive aisle that has been included on the immediate northern site of the athletic field. That is simply a secondary access point. That driveway would not be open for your typical
Is that
vehicular
for
traffic.
deliveries and
That
supplies?
is for emergency services, just so that they have, multiple access points onto the site. It's something that the fire, when it was reviewed by the fire department, that was
Can
something
we
that
accommodate
included.
the Mayor Pro Tem's request? It is his district. What are the possibilities of having that access for a drop-off zone dedicated for that opportunity?
If I may,
Yes.
just Mayor, just real quick, just to interject here. So what you have before you tonight is the work that was done by the consultant and the environmental impacts. I don't know how this affects a timeline, but we have to be very careful about what you change and what you do and how that impacts the environmental impacts overall. My recommendation, unless this is completely going to get you off track, is that if you have these types of questions, you might want to refer them back to staff so they can actually be studied, that you can come up with the options. I don't know whether we weren't going to solve this evening.
Did I make a mess? What? They're basically next to a freeway. Juan, what did you say?
So is it safe to assume that conceptually tonight we're asking for the recommendation? We can always work with staff offline, express our concerns offline, because this isn't a done deal. The turkey's not baked here. This is just a recommendation on these items. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, I mean, we can still work. If I may, I do just want to add a couple points that I think may add some clarity to this. The way that the site is designed with that full loop around, while the drive aisle specifically for the drop-off lane only extends on the eastern side of the project site, it does run the entire frontage, which is quite a long distance given the size of the site. And
Going to be 1,000 cars on the students, faculty. It's going to be 1,000 cars on that one spot. So how many feet do we have? We can divide that by the average length of a car. There's going to be a logjam. There needs to be a drop-off on the west side of the campus. So I see there that there's the sports facility.
Correct.
A lot of that, you narrow that just enough so that there's a drop-off on the east side of the campus. So that drop-off on the west side of the campus would be dedicated to all traffic coming in off of Valley.
I do appreciate that comment. That's something we can definitely look at. One other thing I do just want to make clear is the way that the site was designed by keeping that access point simply the primary off of Valley, the secondary off of the northern part of Waterman. The driveway on Allen was really not intended for any traffic, and that's to minimize any impact that may come from parents either dropping off or picking up on that residential neighborhood. Because Waterman is the higher traffic corridor, it's suited to handle that and designed for that. That is part of the reason why the site was designed accordingly, to focus the traffic in that direction.
So nothing would come off of Allen. So what I would want to see is that traffic coming in off of Valley, right? You'd have traffic coming in off of Valley. They would go up north, go towards the west side of the campus. The drop-off, there'd be a drop-off lane west of the campus, and then you would make a right over and exit off of Waterman.
I think I understand what you're saying now.
Okay.
If I may, then, what I would like to bring up, if we can, we do have the architect that helped design this site.
Yes.
And a representative of the consultant that prepared the traffic study for the site. They may be able to speak to that a little bit more.
Okay, I just want to make sure this is a public hearing. I want to make sure that we are proceeding as we normally would. We have a staff presentation. Council members ask questions of staff. We give the applicant an opportunity to also address the council. So are we done with council questions at this point? And would you like the opportunity to invite the applicant to have their say?
Yeah, and there may be questions after that, but I would like to hear, yes. Yeah.
Why
Are
don't
there
we
other
allow
additional council questions at this point?
questions or comments? Either.
Questions at this point. We're going to do
Questions.
questions, analysis, questions. Any further questions from council members?
Councilmember Barra.
Okay, I'm looking at page 122. The southwest corner on of the property, Allen and Valley. It's labeled as commercial heavy. Do you know what's on that corner right now?
I do not have the specific uses that are
Okay.
operating at that site.
And the reason why I ask is because I do drive to work down Waterman, and I do see a lot of big rigs, and I don't know if that's where they are. My concern would be for the children, if they are close to any warehouses, the air quality for them. But that would be my only concern. Valley and Allen, commercial heavy, what's there currently?
I will say, along the southern end of the site, as you can see from the image, on the south side of the street, it's a self-storage facility, so there's really minimal traffic from that. And the northern portion, the notched portion of the project site, I do not recall the user there, but as is clear from the image, it's much smaller in scale. Doesn't appear to be anything that would be utilizing significant semi-truck traffic or anything of that sort.
Okay, because I know they're constantly on Waterman, up north and south, and so I second
Understood,
the
yes.
same. Thank you. That is all for me, Mayor.
If there are not any other questions, this would be the time to invite the applicant to make their presentation and to ask the applicant any questions, then we'd come back.
Council members, are there any more questions? All right, please present. Thank you. 5-minute allowance. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, councilmen, council people. My name is Larry Ryder. I'm president of Charter School Property Solutions. We were hired by Norton Science and Language Academy as their real estate developer. This is something that our firm does around the country. Let me address your specific concern, Councilman Sanchez, because it's an important one. Whenever we design a site, it's the first concern is to make sure that because we may have 500 to 1,000 cars approaching in the morning over a period of an hour and in the afternoon as well, the concern is that we want to get as many cars onto the site and off the city streets as possible. We also want to create a safe environment so we don't have cars that are getting rear-ended. We don't have children that are being hit because we didn't design the site properly. So this is something that, and I apologize to Travis because we have made some slight modifications to the queuing and stacking for the sole purpose of getting those cars off the streets and onto the site and out of the site as expeditiously as possible. So a couple of things. Number one, the driveway on Waterman will be closed in the morning and in the afternoon. There will be no cars coming in, pick up or drop off on Waterman. All of the traffic coming into the site will be off of Valley. The circulation, queuing, and stacking is actually counterclockwise. So they will be coming in, making a right-hand turn, following that long pathway all the way north, making a left-hand turn around the hammerhead on the left side, the west side of the property, and then making basically a U-turn. There'll be 2 lanes. One lane that will be dropping off for the younger kids, and a secondary lane, a bypass lane, that will take those parents who are dropping their kids off to the middle school and high school, and they will be coming back, that would be counterclockwise, back towards the front of the building, which is along Waterman. So you actually have 2 queuing and stacking lanes. This is one of the best circulation plans that I've ever seen in the country for any school, whether it's public or charter. We should be able to get somewhere between 100 to 125 cars onto the site, moving at a very fast pace. Parents will be there'll be staff out there directing those parents. Those parents will be dropping off kids and exiting back onto Valley, either making a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn onto Waterman, or a right-hand turn going down to Allen. But as I said, with the queuing and stacking design that we've created here, I've never seen a better plan of getting more cars onto the site and off the site in an expeditious fashion. So I hope that addresses your concern.
Key here, and is I want to make sure that I know what I'm I'm hearing is correct. So actually, my assumption was that all the traffic, the queuing and then the drive out would all be east, initially, was east of the campus. But what actually, in fact, is happening is that there is a queue that goes around the entire campus, because it's a counterclockwise motion. So as someone comes in southbound off of Waterman, they will make a clockwise rotation, a counterclockwise rotation around the campus.
Yes, but not a full circle radius around the entire campus. In other words, when they go north on the drive aisle, they're going to turn left, and then they're going to make a U-turn around the traffic aisle and then back towards the campus. And as I said, there'll be 2 lanes. There'll be 1 lane dropping off for the younger kids and 1 bypass lane that will take them back along a north-south direction in front of the building along Waterman.
So it's not going to go around the entire campus.
It will
it's going
not
to cut
go around,
halfway
that's
across.
right. It will not go around the entire campus.
Are you guys going to be able to accommodate 1,000 cars?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on it.
The beautiful thing about this particular site is that we actually have flexibility. If we find that that traffic is being backed up onto either Waterman or to Valley, we can do a full circle. We can look at opening up that lane, which is right now an emergency lane that connects the campus past the soccer field over to Allen. But our desire right now is our desire right now is to try to keep cars exiting into that residential area along Allen. That's the problem. Well, and that's why we would prefer not to empty out onto Allen for that reason.
There's the problem, because if people are coming in on Waterman and then exiting on Allen, you're going to have a tremendous amount of traffic there.
Well, right now that's not our intention.
That's not the intention, but that's the design.
That driveway on Allen is closed. It's only for emergency purposes.
Oh, only emergency purposes.
Yes.
So the exit will still be out of Waterman.
No, it will be out of Valley.
Valley. All right. Okay.
Okay. Does that conclude the presentation? We're here. Question from
I just have one quick question. How many students do you have, and how many cars do you anticipate being in that parking structure when you first build it?
So we'll have initially 800 and change coming into the site. Eventually, over the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have 1,450 kids at full capacity.
It's quite a bit.
Okay.
It's quite a bit for all the cars to exit on one specific street. It's quite a bit of traffic.
Well, given the speed of the cars on Waterman, the worst thing we could do is open up an entrance exit onto Waterman. You will hate me for that, and I don't want that to happen.
Where's that traffic light going in on Waterman?
Right at the corner of Valley and Waterman.
So it'll help mitigate that, so you don't have a car coming 80 miles an hour and you have a car trying to accelerate.
Yes, you would have, when cars are coming off of Valley back onto Waterman, they would have dedicated time to do that. You wouldn't have cars trying to dart out as people are coming north or south on Waterman. That's to help regulate that.
All right.
One question I have for staff. On the Allen side, there's Julia and Cluster.
Yes.
Is there, I don't believe that there's a stop sign or a crosswalk on Julia or Cluster. Is there a traffic study corresponding with this plan or an intention to put a crosswalk either or a stop sign at Cluster or Julia?
So Julia, just for reference on here, it's not a street that crosses through the site, but it does align on the western side right with the northern end of the subject site. There's no proposal at this time to add any kind of control, stop sign or otherwise at that site, because as the site was designed, all of the traffic would be focused along Waterman, so you wouldn't have anything significant going that direction, impacting that street.
Eventually, a traffic study or a traffic warrant perhaps circulated by the neighborhood cluster could advocate for installation of that at a later time?
I mean, I would would want to defer to Public Works on that.
I'm assuming that would be the appropriate process in which to do so.
I know on previous projects that we've had where we've looked at either putting some type of control on an uncontrolled intersection, the project itself needed to warrant it. As it has been right now in the traffic study that was prepared for the item this evening, there wasn't any warrant to require anything along that street.
Mr. Botea, that's an option, and we can work with you later at some other time. Should the need arise for more traffic control measures along Ellen Street, we'd be happy to work with you and partner with you on the traffic warrant study and working with our street engineering department to get a stop sign installed or a crosswalk. All right. I think this time, if there's no more questions.
Move to approve.
I need to read the title of the ordinance. Okay, Ordinance 1530. Ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, approving Development Code Amendment, Zoning Map Amendment 19-05 to change the zoning district classification from residential, suburban, and office industrial park to public facilities of 16 parcels, APNs 0136-261-11, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 36, 37, 41, 42, 43, 44, 50, and 57, containing a total of approximately 18.06 acres pursuant to a mitigated negative declaration.
Members would please cast their votes on this item, please.
On item 11, the motion was made by Mr. Sanchez. I believe the second was by Ms. Richard, and it passes 7-0.
Very good. Congratulations. Moving on to our consent calendar items, we'll be polling our members, beginning with Mayor Pro Tem. Any items to be
Nothing to
polled
pull.
tonight? None. Councilmember Ibarra?
14.
Councilmember Figueroa?
20, please.
Councilmember Charette?
None.
Councilmember Nickel?
I just had a quick question on 19. I'd prefer not to pull it if I can just get my question answered.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I understand that our landscaping services are all contracted now. Is this equipment for non-contracted type service and maintenance? I'm not understand. My understanding was we were getting away from the landscaping business and contracting out that type of work.
Good evening, Councilmember Nickel. Yes, so we actually, this is to support for the most part our response to customer requests for tree trimming. We have contracted out our grid tree trimming, our planned kind of city grid by grid tree trimming. But this is a piece of equipment that we use during emergencies, during wind events, as well as for standard requests that come in through our CRM system for tree trimming. So those are our responses.
So we do still do tree trimming
Correct.
on request and as needed?
Correct.
With city staff?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Richard, any items? Councilmember Mulvihill?
I have none.
Thank you, sir.
Move the ballot.
Very good.
Second.
Members cast their votes on the balance.
On the consent calendar, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Charette, the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and the item passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item number 2, I'm sorry, my apologies. Council member from the 2nd District, Sabara, item number 14.
Yes, just some questions for our staff. When I was reading this item, it kind of was very vague as far as information was provided. It's saying it's certain city officers and certain amounts. Is this, from what I understand, is that in the finance department that this is the LAIF?
Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna be under?
LAIF is asking us to update our resolution and signatures and authority to make investment transfers and transactions to and from our local agency investment fund. Prior to July 1st, the city had a elected city treasurer. We do no longer have that. This is to update our records to indicate that the authority will go with your finance director, your deputy finance director, your accounting manager, and your treasury supervisor.
And then with this comes reporting to the city how
Yes, ma'am.
investments are coming
On a
along?
monthly basis, we submit our treasurer's report and investment activity to the city council on an agenda item. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, thank you. I move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Item number 14, members would cast their votes, please.
On item 14, the motion to approve was made by Ms. Ibarra, the second by Mr. Sanchez, and it passes 6-0 with Mr. Charette absent.
Thank you. Item number 20 by Councilman Figueroa, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is asking the council to reallocate approximately $65,000 from Lytle Creek Roof Replacement Fund and for the purposes of park equipment. Is this in any way jeopardizing the roof replacement, or is this simply just additional leftover money from the roof replacement?
That's correct. The original amount of CDBG funding that was allocated for the roof replacement at Lytle Creek Park was more than actually our bids came back in at. And so we were able to request and had the council approve that excess CDBG funding be able to be reallocated to previously approved public works projects that are also CDBG eligible. And so the roof project is going off without a hitch, and it'll help support, the excess funding will help support this maintenance project for our playground equipment as well.
And thank you kindly. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. With that, I'll move to approve, please.
Second. The benefits of the overage, as I understand it, on packet page 807, the items of a surplus will go back into the funding of more park equipment, of which, Councilmember Figueroa, you're the benefactor of that. So good eye and good opportunity for us to expand playground equipment for children. All right, members would cast their votes on item number 20.
On item 20, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Figueroa and the second by Mr. Sanchez, and it passes 7-0.
Very good. Items to be referred to committees. Are there any council members? Councilmember Nickel.
Yeah, I've received a number of concerns from residents regarding our development code as pertains to modular housing. I would like to get a staff report, perhaps at our Legislative Review Committee, to understand what our current code entails related to any restrictions or what the current procedure is for approval, and provide an opportunity for council members to provide input on potential modifications to that code to ensure greater compatibility with existing communities and ensure that our community stays a quality community.
Well, with that said, if the staff work is the same, providing a staff report to the Legislative Review Committee as it would be to the council as a whole, I would prefer that be presented to the council as a whole. If the staff work, in fact, is not any more than it is for sending it just to the Legislative Review.
That's fine. I'd like a vote on that, please.
Okay.
Well, and if I may, Council Member, I think what I'd like to do is have an opportunity in the context of the committee to have a full discussion on that, and then bring back the outcome of that discussion to the full council as either an information item or, if action is required, as an action item. But I think there might be some need to have some in-depth discussion that would take the time of this council in a way that might not be appropriate, and I think the committee would be the best place to have those in-depth conversations. But I agree with you, it needs to come back here as well.
Yes, all right.
Councilman Charette.
I agree with Councilman Sanchez that, as many of you know, I think a lot of our committees take time from staff and take time from 3 council members, when in fact there's nothing can be done at that level anyway. And I think presentations should be made to the full council so that we can make a vote and have benefit of the full discussion. So again, that's the job we signed up for, and if we need to go till midnight, that's so be it. We could remedy that by starting at 3 o'clock like we used to, and then we wouldn't maybe go quite so long. But I think we're here on the first and third Wednesdays to do the job of the people and to discuss it here and have a full and a robust discussion on all items here. The staff does all their homework and does all their work during the week, during those 2 weeks between meetings, and we have the ability to talk to them, bring information to them, get information from them, and then have a discussion at the council meeting. So I agree fully that we should be having most of our discussions, those full discussions here at the council. So I won't support sending it to legislative review.
If I may, Mayor, in my last update to all of you, I recommended maybe we started having regular study sessions before a closed session at 4:30. That's another option for you that we could bring back even to do that at 4:30 and have a discussion. And when you make up your minds, we can bring something back to the full
I think
council.
study sessions are important. I would like to propose 4 per year so we can have a meaningful study session, and we can stack and layer items on it. But we'll let you determine that and the council's prerogatives on more of the scheduling, because I know that a lot of council members work. But
I would just like to ask my colleagues that commented, would a study session be a good compromise? Mr. Schratt, Mr.
Yes, but I think we're still expecting, I think you said that if it goes to the Legislative Review Committee, that.
Well, I think what I would recommend then is we just have it in a study session instead of legislative review. We would just start an earlier meeting, it sounds like, and then have an in-depth conversation on modular housing and the code, and just vet it as a full council.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
Okay. Is that okay, Mr. Schratt? Yes. Okay.
Ms. Ledoux, you've received some instruction. I think there's no objectors on that. Councilman Mulvihill.
Yes, thank you. Speaking with a couple of our colleagues in the city of Highland on the council, I've become aware of the fact that in the city of Highland, Burtec provides seniors a 20% discount on their trash bill. And I pursued that with the City of Highlands Public Service Manager, Melissa Morgan. And what it entails is that for seniors, accepting a smaller can provides them with a 20% discount. It's called pay-as-you-throw. You throw less, you pay less. She's also pursuing expanding that to everyone. And this isn't going to committee. I want the staff to take a look at this and pursue this with, apparently it's been in place for, she's been there for 17 years, and it was in place when she was hired. So it's been a long-standing, and I was kind of surprised that we'd never heard about it. But again, for seniors, and again, Ms. Morgan indicated that, in fact, she was going to try to expand that for everyone to accept a smaller trash can. I know I could probably use a smaller trash can and obtain a discount if possible. 20% discount for seniors right now, and it's been there for years. So, with Burtec, but it's again, it entails accepting a smaller trash can.
This is just something you're asking us to look into and get
Exactly.
back to you. Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll second as well.
All right. I think the question's there. And all right. So are there any other items? If not, we'll move on to at this moment. We thank our public for attending tonight's public portion. We will now be going into closed session, followed by a closed session.
I do believe that the assistant city attorney has a statement to make concerning some recent events.
So, regarding What's
Mayor
the
Pro Tem-
request?
The Mayor Pro Tem had asked me just to make a brief statement in response to public comments that were made this evening to help clarify where the council sits in terms of not being able to comment on certain issues. So he just asked me to make a brief statement.
If you make point of order, hold on just a minute. I think we will recess into closed session. We'll go ahead and go into closed session.
I'd like to make a motion that the city attorney make that statement.
And I'll second it with a comment.
And I'll support.
And the support is what's the?
It's not a report, it's just a comment. I was asked by by Mayor Pro Tem, based on some advice that he received from the city attorney's department, just to make a statement to the public.
Comment, please.
Call for the question. We have a motion and a
Sorry,
second.
sir, you're not recognized. Just a moment. Just a minute, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. The item before us is regarding a request made by the Mayor Pro Tem to read a statement.
To respond to public comments that were made this evening, yes.
By whom?
By members of the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please proceed, Ms. City Attorney.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Mayor and council members, just for the public's benefit, I wanted to assure you, and also especially members of the public, that the city manager and director of human resources have taken immediate action to address the recent claims that have been referred to in a newspaper article. The city has outside special legal counsel that advises the city on all employment matters, and this firm is advising staff on its legal obligations to strictly comply and follow with all of your personnel rules and to conduct a thorough investigation. We ask for your patience in knowing that staff needs time to comply with these policies and state and federal law. The public should know that all of you have been advised of your legal responsibilities and your fiduciary duties and your obligation not to disclose confidential personnel information. And this may be why some of you cannot speak to the press or members of the public. And I think Mayor Pro Tem just wanted his constituents to know that you've been so advised by legal counsel.
Thank you. And
You're
you've
welcome.
also supplied that to us to be in writing.
I certainly
Thank
have.
you.
We wanted to make the public
Thank you very much.
aware of that.
Thank you. We will now recess into closed session.